Today I'm having a conversation with Nishti, who is a dietitian with a focus on children and families, and particularly in the area of diabetes, obesity, and allergies. So welcome, Nishti, and thank you very much for talking to me today.
Thank you for inviting me, Jens. I love what you do.
Thank you
Absolutely
so
love
much.
it.
Likewise. No, I've really been looking forward to having this conversation with you. So we're going to be covering a few very exciting topics, and great. So lots of fiber is important. So then maybe that brings us over into a subject that is one that I love. Obviously, is pulses. And what is it with pulses then? You say they do contain carbohydrate, but then they also contain protein and fiber. So can you tell me a little bit more about using what your view is on pulses and using pulses in your diet?
I mean, absolutely wonderful. It's such a great substitute for meat. If you were to consider going more plant-based, then adding. I always tell people to do it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? Because I personally think that when you change your diet, it has to be in bite-sized pieces.
Right.
So, for example, if you want to start adding pulses to your meal,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a source of it's low GI, so it's a source of carbohydrate, but it's low GI, it's a source of protein. What would you do? Well, if you are used to having white rice, then you can start by adding some pulses to your rice. And usually I suggest that actually to clients, and it works well because then it's a mindful way. So you are actually putting your pulses and your rice together, and that also makes it complete protein.
Right.
Right. And you have made the meal, just by doing that, you would have made the meal lower GI. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's just these subtle changes, because a lot of people are still new to it. Actually, we may think that it's very common, but they're still new to it, or they may get overwhelmed. We have to be very aware of what's going on out there in the world of foods and in the food industry. The meat for a cow that's fed on grass and not all this grain-fed corn, soya, GMO feeds, the nutrition will be better. And actually, science shows that the omega-3 content will be higher for grass-fed beef compared to non-grass-fed beef.
That's very
and also vitamin A. Vitamin A is higher as well. So, and this is more to do with conscious eating, or in the world of mindfulness. If you think about how a cow must feel, because obviously we don't know, but think about the energy of which the cow that lives in beautiful nature, compare that to an animal that's caged. Obviously, we're talking about two different energies here. So in terms of eating from a place of higher consciousness and being mindful of what kind of energy we put into our body, because food is energy. There's more to food than just nutrients and macros and macronutrients and micronutrients. I always look at food as energy as well. So although the nutrition is better for grass-fed beef, I also believe, now this is not scientifically proven, that the energy, they won't have suffered as the caged cattle may have suffered.
I believe there is a word for it, and it's called karma.
We have the choice here, and really be mindful of that. And I think more people are waking up to that fact. But look at, you mentioned antibiotic resistance is, we know it's so common now. It does get into our food chain. Right? So we have to be very careful. A handful of pulses, because that's the protein, and when you mix that with your barley or your rice, you are actually making it complete protein, because there's no lysine, for example, in rice. But by adding pulses, you're making it complete protein. And then your veggies, 1, 2, 3.
I've been eating a lot of pulses myself now for the past 2 months. 3 months it is now. When lockdown started, I just decided, because I had more time on my hands, so it takes time to cook pulses. So I started cooking a lot of pulses and eating a lot of them, and I must say it's incredible what it has done for my energy levels and just sort of general sense of well-being and gut health and so on.
Lots of veggies, lots of low GI carbohydrates, and
like whole grains and pulses that also contain protein. Yeah.
Don't make it complicated. It's actually easier than what we think.
Yeah, exactly.
And more home cooking, or ordering from people like you, where you've actually made the meal. Like it's fresh. That's what.
Just say that I'm not paying Nishti to say this.
No.
But thank you.
He's not. But I have to. I'm a dietitian. I will always recommend people what I believe is to be the best.
Yeah. No, thank you. And this has been a really inspiring conversation so far. I think maybe there's one last thing that people would like to know when it comes to carbohydrates, and that is, can I eat sweets? How should I go about?
I love that question, because that's always the first question people ask when I say, "Oh, I'm a dietitian. Oh, can I eat chocolate?" And you can eat what you think is right for you. I'm not here to say you can and cannot. Let me give myself as an example. Yeah. I do eat sweets. I do eat chocolate. Okay. But 90% of my week has been a low GI, healthy 1, 2, 3 meal. It's the energy of which you put into something. That's the energy you will get out.
So it's almost like looking at it as, with food as being an investment. It's not an expense. It's not, oh my God, I have to spend time on this. It's like, no, you are investing time in this. You are investing money in this, because the return you're going to get is a longer, healthier, and happier life. More or less.
That's it. And the energy of which you bring to what you're cooking and what you're eating shouldn't be rush. Most people rush. Most people, it's a task. It's like, oh, I need to cook, I need to eat. It's like, we don't have time for the most precious thing to fuel our body. Priorities. What is your priority? And your priority should always be you. Yeah. You and you alone. And as you start to develop a healthy relationship with yourself, you will start to care for where your food comes from. Right. From who grew your broccoli. And you will think about people, because the food, the plate is the cosmos. It's fire, earth, water, wind. It's people have come together to create what's on your plate.
Unless you're really excited now, I have to say. Nishti, before you and I go on and on about the cosmos and so on, I think we should conclude this thing with the carbohydrates and pulses and so on. That's been fascinating. And then I think the next really interesting topic that we should see if we could cover today is fat. Because I think that's also one that people are that there's still a lot of misconceptions around.